That is something we can discuss, but for now.
I left Cerberus to you. Who's captain now?
Cap, pen, please. I requested the Yosa take you so I could catch up with an old friend. Cerberus is conflict.
Fuck that. What's happened to Cerberus, Samir?
The man paused a moment as if readying himself.
Fireteam Cerberus has been disbanded. Or rather, it has no active members. They'd never decommission a name like Cerberus, but until they decide to fill the spots, it'll sit as is.
Deeg had little trouble interpreting Pen's facial expressions this time. Her jaw clenched, and her eyes went wide. She stood straight, arms falling to her side. She walked forward. If her body language wasn't enough to clarify her turn in mood, her words were,
What? What the fuck do you mean?
Pen.
I left Cerberus to you. I recommended you for captain. What happened?
They offered me a promotion to captain of the Yosa, and I took it.
Pen was practically leaning over the desk now.
So you just threw Cerberus under the bus for a promotion?
Samir stood now as well. He matched Penelope's energy.
I have never been unclear about my goals. I was on the track for captain of a ship, and you pulled me off it. You did that.
Because you were good. Good enough for Cerberus?
I told you when I took your offer that I was doing it because it would help me. I never wanted to be captain of Cerberus, and you knew that. Don't you dare put that on me. I didn't decommission the team. I didn't sacrifice your fire team for a promotion. They offered me the promotion, I accepted, and they decided to let Cerberus sit empty.
Penelope didn't know how to respond. A few moments passed and her anger deflated. Her posture followed as she backed down.
The rest of the team?
Shuffled around like normal, filling holes in other special operations teams. All fine, though.
Samir sat back down.
I'm glad to see you're doing well, too. I need some air.
Pen made to leave.
We still need to talk about...
You can talk about the weapons with Deg.
Her words were punctuated by the swiftly shutting door. The room sat for a few moments in awkward silence.
My apologies, sir. I can go get...
Tonit started.
No apologies needed. Pen and I, well, I hadn't been eager to break that news to her for some time now. It was never something that was going to go over easily. She just needs some time. For now, we can discuss what has found its way into your cargo hold.
Pen stalked down the hallway to the elevator, but found Martin starting to step in her way.
Cap, ma'am, is there somewhere I can help you to?
No, I'm just going for a walk.
I'm sorry, but non-military can't be allowed to...
Penelope cast a dark glare at him.
Move about. The ship.
He was quickly withering under the pressure. Penelope decided to just start walking again. Whether or not he moved was his problem.
That said, given that you are a friend of the captain's, you should be fine to go where you please.
He'd barely finished the sentence before the elevator door shut in his face. Penelope looked at the familiar console and hit a random button. She truly didn't have anywhere in mind, only wandering until she found a quiet hallway with a spot to sit. She must have found her way to an outer section of the ship, as there was a viewport that looked past the naval yard and down onto the planet. It didn't have life, but even the gray-brown rock from this distance was a beautiful sight. It was coupled, too, with the patterned movements of various military ships. Watching them was as calming as it had ever been. The hallway drifted away as she remembered the first time she'd watched a scene like this one so very many years ago above Astor.
I wonder if it's the rank.
A voice pulled her back to reality. Connolly stood a few meters down the hallway. Now, however, he was dressed in simple gray fatigues.
Well, I've caught Samir here on a few occasions. Other than him, it's always pretty empty, save myself. Until now. I wonder if it's a captain thing.
It's quiet, and the view.
Pretty damn good, huh?
He walked over to the window and stared out at the scene.
Always did like them. Wish I had my things on me. Watching the ships move from point to point helped me think.
I'll make the terribly easy leap in logic and guess Samir broke the news?
Yeah.
She's not dead, could always come back at some point.
That's how these things always go. It's what they always say. Not dead, just sleeping.
Cerberus deserves the best.
That's what I left it with.
I just can't believe he'd let it happen. He could have... I mean, could you? Could you just let Excalibur get thrown away? Could you?
He said without thinking. He turned to look at her and found a stern face locking eyes with him.
I think I'd prefer to be alone, thank you.
Of course, ma'am.
Connolly stood straight and performed a crisp salute before continuing down the hall. He was gone, and Penelope was left once again with the silence and the view. Deeg took a seat in one of the chairs. As it was made for humans, it was far too big for him, and his feet dangled off the edge. Samir held out a hand over his desk.
First off, Captain Deeg, I must extend the thanks of the UEMC for safely returning her property. In the wrong hands, they could have caused a great amount of pain.
Gareth couldn't help but scoff at the idea that they might not cause pain in the right hands. Captain Samir continued.
Given the contents of the crates, it's only fitting that you receive a reward for your selfless actions. The UEMC may not be a member of the Galactic Federation, but we keep a small account of Federation credit for certain occasions such as this. I have the authority to pay a stipend for this as I see fit. I think the amount of 10,000 is warranted.
Deeg almost fell out of the chair.
Yes, that is acceptable, certainly.
Excellent, and of course the journey shouldn't be at your expense either, so we've taken the liberty of refueling your ship.
It is appreciated.
We would appreciate it if at some point during your stay you would record any pertinent information you might have that is connected to this breach. I'll talk to to Penn about what she saw, of course. Everything will be relayed to NIA, and anything might be useful.
Nia?
Tonnet asked.
Naval Intelligence Agency, NIA. They're the ones who will find out how those crates found their way so far from UEMC hands and who did it. Gear such as that doesn't just fall out the back of a supply convoy and float into alien space.
Speaking of the gear itself, it may have been used somewhat.
Dag offered tentatively.
Used when you found it?
Not exactly. Penn might have made some use of it, but there really wasn't much choice. Another human and some frames were legitimately attacking a colony. People were dying.
I see.
Penn wouldn't be in trouble for that, wouldn't she? Or us?
Strictly speaking, use of military gear by non-military is one hell of an offense, but given the situation, I think it may go with little notice. It would seem, though, that I have more to talk to Penn about than I thought. A human, you say?
Yes.
And they are dead?
Yes.
Penn didn't. There was someone else.
Gareth interrupted. The Yosa's captain didn't speak, but a dark concern came over his face very suddenly. Raxia Colony had finished the work of dismantling the frames, and things were returning to some semblance of normalcy. Given the event that occurred, there'd been a heavy increase in traffic to and from the planet. Defense forces and news groups only brought more attention, and thus people to the planet. All of them took quick notice of the large figure that made its way off of a transport vessel and looked around town for an elder.
Sir, I've been told you're something of a leader around here. I was wondering if you could help me.
Ah, another big one. What might I help you with?
The elder Tinson responded, doing his best not judge them hastily.
Well, I heard of the terrible tragedy that occurred here. You have my deepest sympathies. But I'd heard of the human that came down to help you. Penelope Astor is actually a friend of mine.
Ah, that was her name.
She's a very old friend, and I was just hoping to find her. I heard she had talked about settling here.
Oh, well, yes, she did, but decided against it. She left with the ship she came in on, the Blue Nebula.
Ah, seems like I just missed her then. What a beautiful name for a ship, though.
And a beautiful ship, too. Ossian design. Her captain is a good one as well, Corval, by the name of Dag.
Deeg, huh? Oh, you wouldn't happen to know where they were headed, would you?
I do believe Deeg spoke of Terran space, actually.
Ah, well, thank you very much, sir. It's back to the transport for me, but I wish your colony the best.
Of course. Any friend of Miss Penelope is a friend of ours. I do hope you find her soon.
I'm sure I will.
Hey everyone, hope you loved the video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe for more awesome sci-fi content. You can also support us by hitting the thanks button at the bottom of the video. Your generosity goes a long way. Every bit helps us bring you more stories from the stars. Thanks a bunch.